Hello and welcome back to Film Exaggeration. Welcome to my new place, which pretty much just looks exactly the same as the old place, including that stupid wall-long mirror that I had to cover in posters. Half the posters I lost in the move. But today is June 30th, 2021, meaning it has been 50 years since the release of one of the most beloved family films of all time, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. In 1964, Roald Dahl released a book called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and it would become his most famous work, being read by generations of children around the world and inspiring many creators from Tim Burton to J.K. Rowling. 7 years later, a film adaptation was released renamed Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, directed by Mel Stewart with a script written by Dahl himself. Sort of. It was revealed later on that parts were written by David Seltzer, who would later go on to write The Omen. You know, Willy Wonka and The Omen, practically the same movie. The story behind this movie is kind of interesting. You see, it was actually made with the intention of promoting a new candy bar from Quaker Oats called, well, the Quaker Oats Wonka Bar. That's why the name was changed from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, so it could advertise the candy. So, yeah, this movie is basically like a giant commercial for a candy that didn't last long due to production troubles. While not doing great at the box office, it did get great reviews. Roger Ebert gave it 4 stars, and its popularity continued to grow over the next half-century. Today, it's often regarded as one of the best family films of all time, right alongside Wizard of Oz, It's a Wonderful Life, and E.T., beloved by children and adults alike. But there was one person who didn't like it, Roald Dahl himself. He hated the stuff Seltzer added and disowned the movie, not allowing the sequel, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, to be adapted into film, although apparently Netflix is working on a series. So 50 years later, the candy has failed, Roald Dahl is dead, there's been several other versions, including one with Tom and Jerry. Does this movie still hold up? Well, let's find out. This is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So we start in a small town in Germamere, England, where a bunch of children get out of school and head to the local candy shop owned by this man named Bill, played by Aubrey Woods, who tells them of a new Wonka candy called a Scrumdiddlyumptious bar.
Scrumdiddlyumptious bar? How does he do it?
My dear boy, do you question the great Willy Wonka? Get out of my shop! Anyway, here we get our first song, The Candyman, and yeah, to this day, it's still a great, catchy song, but I have to ask, why are you giving away all this food? Like, we never see these kids give him any money, and he's just handing it out like it's Halloween. Unless he makes them pay afterwards. Okay, kids, that'll be $73.12. But sir, we have no money. $73.12. Hey, don't think he's not violent. He nails this girl in the chin.
Collect up all the cream, the Candyman.
I love that. So, eat your heart out, honeydukes. Outside is a boy named Charlie Bucket, played by Peter Ostrum in his only feature film, looking sad because he's poor. Kid, it doesn't matter. Have you seen what they're doing in there? It's apparently free candy day. Go in there and get some. So Charlie goes on his paper route, and I'm not sure if he's the best or worst paperboy in the world, and then heads home to his single mother, even though his dad was alive in the book, and 4 grandparents. 3 of them aren't important, although I do love that their names are Grandpa George and Grandma Georgina and Grandpa Joe and Aunt Josephine. I like to imagine they married just so they could match. Well, Charlie is a really good kid, not only buying a large loaf of bread with his paper route money, but giving the rest to his Grandpa Joe, played by Jack Alberton, to buy tobacco. That night, Grandpa tells him about Wonka's chocolate factory and how he had to close it down due to rivals stealing his recipes, the worst being Slugworth. Why would you buy a candy with the word Slugworth on it?
Finally, Mr. Wonka shouted, I shall be ruined. Close the factory. And that's just what he did.
So you were afraid they would put you out of business, so you decided to shut down the business. That's a plan, I guess. He did eventually start production again, but the gates remain locked, with no one knowing who works at the factory since they don't hire anyone. Anyway, the next day at school, Charlie's professor, who has an English accent despite the rest of the class being American, teaches him how to make a bomb. The 70s. A kid tells them that Wonka is letting in 5 people into his factory.
He's giving truckloads of chocolate away.
Class dismissed!
Yes, because that's worth canceling school over. And it's not even like it's happening right now. Wonka has hidden 5 golden tickets in 5 Wonka bars that have shipped them out all over the world. Whoever wins gets a tour of the factory and a lifetime supply of chocolate. This starts a global frenzy, and these scenes are just odd. One has a man tell his therapist that the Archangel told him where a ticket is. This therapist's response?
Just shut up, Hofstadter, and tell me where the ticket is.
About as good as a therapist as Dr. Jordan Peterson. One has a woman being told her husband will be killed unless she gives him her last case of Wonka bars. Her response?
How long will it give me to think it over?
About as good as a wife as the women on Female Dating Strategy. And another has a man create a computer that can find the golden ticket, but it won't do it because it would be cheating.
I am now telling the computer that if it will tell me the correct answer, I will gladly share with it the grand prize. He says, what would a computer do with a lifetime supply of chocolate?
Okay, so you just invented artificial intelligence. Anyway, the first ticket was found in Germany by a boy named Augustus Gloop, who is a little chubby. I mean, that's not really that fat. I wish I was that skinny when I was that age.
Mr. Gloop, would you mind saying...
Get that man to a hospital! Also, some mysterious man talks to him mysteriously. Oh, and Charlie gets a Wonka bar for his birthday, but nothing's in it. Boo-hoo. The second ticket was found by a British girl named Veruca Salt, whose dad, who owns a nut factory, has made his workers open Wonka bars. And can I just say that Julie Dawn Cole's performance as Veruca may be one of the best child performances of all time? Seriously, she is so good in this, able to scream, be the biggest brat you've ever seen, but also play sweet and innocent when she wants to, and it all feels realistic. Like, this is how spoiled bratty kids act.
Make 'em want nights!
I want to go in first before anybody else.
You're a rotten mean father! You never give me anything I want! I want an Oompa Loompa now!
Give me that pen. You're always making things difficult.
Oh, and that creepy guy's there too. How did you know she found the ticket? I'm not sure.
Happiness is what counts for children. Happiness and harmony.
Okay, I get it. Don't spoil your kids, but happiness and harmony are not bad things.
Whatever corner of the globe we are in, whichever of the 5 continents we're on.
5 continents? What happened to the other 2? The third ticket is found by an American girl named Violet Beauregard, the most slave master sounding last name I've ever heard. Her sin is she likes to chew gum. Alright, she's also a little competitive and rude.
I chew it all day except at mealtimes when I stick it behind my ear.
Violet.
Cool it, Mother.
I do love her dad, though. By the way, his actor, Leonard Stone, played the Canyon Guide in the Avatar The Last Airbender episode, The Great Divide. Yep, the worst episode. She gets a message too. Anyway, time for the part of the movie that everybody skips. Charlie's sad that the tickets are dwindling, which is a change from the book I really like. In the book, he's way too perfect, basically never had a selfish thought. In this, he does have some moments where he can be a whiny and a bit greedy. Then we get Cheer Up Charlie, and I know it's popular to hate this song.
While singing Cheer Up Charlie, which is an awful song. And we all fast forward through it.
But honestly, I kinda like it. I love the genuine feel it has. It actually sounds like something a mother would say to cheer up her son. It really gets to me every time. Although I will say, the cinematography is lame. And what was the direction for Peter here? Okay, Pete, you're confused, but also walking to the execution chamber. Oh, and then there's this tonal shift. Okay, seriously, it's not that bad a song, no need to get violent. The fourth ticket has been found by another American named Mike TV. He really likes TV. Boy, doll, must have taken you hours to come up with that name. He's also a spoiled brat, and he also gets a message from the mysterious man. Although I gotta point out this guy's impressive microphoning skills.
You love to watch TV, Mike?
You bet.
What about that golden ticket, Mike? That's what we all
Hold it! I want to catch this.
You like the killings, huh?
What do you think life's all about?
I love that. Unfortunately, the last ticket was found by a man in Paraguay, leaving Charlie sad. After a really funny scene with the teacher, God, I love this guy, Charlie finds a coin in the sewers and decides to buy a couple Wonka bars for him and Grandpa Joe. Kid, you have other family. Also, now you want money? So it turns out the ticket from Paraguay was a fake. Also, he was a Nazi. No, seriously, that's a picture of Martin Bormann, who was Hitler's personal secretary. Perfect family entertainment. So there's still one ticket left. Could it be? It's not there. Just kidding, he finds the ticket, throws away a perfectly good bar of chocolate, and then is fucking assaulted by grown adults. Thankfully, his boss saves him and he runs home, but eventually comes across the creepy guy, saying he's Slugworth, the guy who was stealing Wonka's recipes.
Mr. Wonka is at this moment working on a fantastic invention. The everlasting gobstopper. If he succeeds, he'll ruin me. So all I want you to do is to get hold of just one everlasting gobstopper and bring it to me so that I can find the secret formula.
It's not often the creepy guy in the alley tells the kids to bring him candy. Promising a monetary reward, Charlie makes it home and shows his family the golden ticket, which says he can bring one person along, although in the book you could bring two, and he says he wants to take Grandpa Joe.
Look at me. Up and about.
Fuck you! You could walk this whole time?
So we get our next song, I Got a Golden Ticket. Personally, this was always my favorite song. The tune is so catchy that they used it just a couple minutes earlier when Charlie was running home. And even though Peter isn't a great singer, it's just so charming. And it's so happy and optimistic.
It says the 1st of October, that's tomorrow.
Well, thank God someone finally found it. So the big day comes. Also, good thing all the families have enough money to drop everything and travel to wherever the hell this is from all over the world. At the very least, it's a very diverse group. All white, all from 3 countries, 2 continents, and 1 hemisphere. Willy Wonka, played by Gene Wilder, comes out with a cane, limping, as despite all the hype, he doesn't seem that glamorous. That was actually Gene Wilder's idea. In fact, it was the only reason he agreed to be in the movie. God bless Gene Wilder, he can do no wrong.
Yeah, now try it. Don't you feel it? Yeah. Needs work, George.
God, the 80s were weird.
This is going to be such an exciting day. I hope you enjoy it. I think you will.
4 of you are gonna die, but some people are into that. So they all head in and this happens.
Little surprises around every corner, but nothing dangerous.
Yes, nothing dangerous. Let's see how that comes back to bite you. So they have to sign this contract that's about half the length of an AM management lease agreement. I've made choices. We get this scene where they're in a black and white room, told to go to the other door, and then when they exit the way they came in.
How do you like that?
So, it's an elevator. So we enter the chocolate room and it's alright. Admittedly, it's starting to show its age. It's colorful, but I wouldn't want to eat anything in here. They look kind of plasticky. I mean, look at those. Those are clearly just painted balloons. But we at least get the song Pure Imagination.
Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world.
Please call 911. So they all admire the river.
It's polluted.
It's chocolate.
That's chocolate.
That's chocolate.
That's not chocolate. At best, it's root beer. At worst, it's the sewage line. We then see who works at the factory, little orange green-haired men.
Stuff and nonsense.
No Oompa Loompas.
Those aren't Oompa Loompas.
From Loompaland.
But Oompa Loompas aren't from Loopaland, they're from Africa. They're just African pygmies. No, seriously. In the original version, they were just pygmies from Africa that Wonka brought over and, you know, enslaved. I actually read that version as it was the one in the library at my college, and yeah, this is one change between the book and the film that was absolutely 100% for the better. But you know, it was 1964, the year of the Civil Rights Act. Although granted, he was from Wales, so maybe the UK is behind? After some arguing between Veruca and Violet, Augustus Gloop starts drinking from the river. Don't do that, Augustus. At best, you'll get a stomach ache.
Don't do that. My chocolate must never be touched by human hand. Please, I beg you, Augustus.
Okay, he wanted to go in. Look at that, he clearly went in on his own free will. He gets stuck up in the pipe where he'll likely run out of air and die. But again, nothing dangerous.
The suspense is terrible.
He's gonna go this time.
I hope it'll last.
And then thankfully he's replaced with a dummy and shoots up the pipe. I love Wonka's pure nonchalantness to this.
Because that pipe doesn't go to the marshmallow room, it goes to the fudge room.
So he calls upon an Oompa Loompa to take Mrs. Gloop to find her son, and we get a Loompa song. Alright, these were actually in the book, so let's hear it.
Oompa, loompa, doompa-dee-doo. I've got a perfect puzzle for you. Oompa, loompa, doompa-dee-dee.
That's not what it said in the book. Let's see here. Augustus Gloop, Augustus Gloop, Augustus Gloop, the great big greedy nincompoop. How long could we allow this beast to gorge and guzzle, feed and feast? I mean, it's good, I guess, although what's with these graphics? Like, most of the movie is pretty timeless, but this just screams late 60s, early 70s. So they get on a boat, because I'd want to get on that thing after seeing what happened to that Augustus kid, but I guess this is kinda nice.
Hey, Daddy, I want a boat like this. A beautiful paddle boat, that's what I want.
Shut up, bitch. Well, you all know this is coming. That fucking tunnel, featuring flashing lights, giant bugs, a chicken getting its head cut off, and Wonka saying a pretty creepy poem before screaming at the top of his lungs. Perfect family entertainment. Yes, it's memorable, but I have to ask, what's the point? Like, what is Wonka's reason for creating this? I refuse to believe he just made this for the tour. Time for the inventing room, and we get some pretty great jokes.
Time is a precious thing, never wasted.
Also, something goes off next to Mike's head even though it was supposed to be in his mouth.
That's exploding candy for your enemies.
Well, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. This just in, at least 46 child deaths have been linked to Wonka's new exploding candy. More at 11. He shows them some gobstoppers, which look like radioactive jacks that I would never want to put in my mouth, but he gives them to the kids, asking them to keep it secret.
You can suck them and suck them and suck them, and they'll never get any smaller.
Because that's good for business. We get another invention that involves bees? Also, can someone please tell me what the fuck this is? Is it soup? A pie? A quiche? I have been wondering since I was a kid. This gum is apparently a 3-course dinner, meaning Wonka's on track to end world hunger. And somehow the Oompa Loompas left in Africa are still gonna starve. Violet of course wants it, and while initially enjoying it, then starts turning purple. Mom? No, Purple, it's not your fucking mom!
Loompa, loompa, loompa-dee-doompa, I've got another puzzle for you.
This is just the same song as the first one. You had lyrics made for you. Why make the same song?
Gum chewing's fine when it's once in a while. It stops you from smoking and brightens your smile. But it's repulsive, revolting, and wrong.
Yeah, the problem isn't that she chews gum, it's that she's a rude little brat.
Can it, you nit? Pull it, Mother.
Pull it, I got him,
Dad, for heaven's sake, this is my show.
Oh well, guess she chewed gum too much. Death.
Well, well, well. 2 naughty, nasty little children gone. 3 good, sweet little children left.
Could you have possibly said that more creepily? So after practicing their cunnilingus skills on some lickable wallpaper, you can't tell me that's not what this is for, they head for the fizzy lifting drink room, which was only given a small mention in the book, and I appreciate them expanding on it here. But as the others leave, Charlie and Grandpa Joe decide to stay behind.
Let's take a drink, Charlie. Nobody's watching.
Yeah.
A small one won't hurt us.
Did you see what happened to Augustus and Violet? I guess not, because they drink it and start floating. At first it seems fun, although this time was the first time I could see the wiring, but as they reach the fan they start to get scared.
There's nothing to grab onto! Help! We're gonna get killed!
Little surprises around every corner, but nothing dangerous.
Well, this is a Roald Dahl story, and I've seen the BFG, so... Whiz pop!
I'm going down.
Close enough. So, Charlie basically did the bad thing the others did, which kind of goes against the point of the original story, where Charlie was the only one who listened to Wonka and didn't act up. They head to a room with a bunch of geese. In the book they were squirrels that cracked open nuts, and here they're geese that lay golden eggs.
The egg decatur can tell the difference between a good egg and a bad egg. But if it's a bad egg, down the chute.
How does it determine that? Of course Veruca wants one, and I love Charlie's reaction.
Here we go again.
Oh, you're one to talk, Mr. Fizzy Lifting Drinks. And even though none of the other kids got songs, she gets one called I Want It Now. Thankfully, Julie Dawn Cole is a decent singer, although the lip syncing is pretty bad.
I want to wear 'em like braids in my hair, and I don't want to share 'em!
I do love the Oompa Loompas trying to stop her. Like, you know they're just thinking, why did the boss bring in these little brats? Halloween's in a month, we're already behind schedule. Also, why does she get on that thing? Like, even if she didn't think she was a bad egg, that's just a bad idea.
Where did it lead to?
To the furnace.
Little surprises around every corner, but nothing dangerous.
Mr. Salt decides to kill himself, and, you know, are none of you gonna have reactions that people are just vanishing on this tour? Same song, different words with some more 70s graphics. With only 2 kids left, they get on a large vehicle with just enough seats for the 5 of them. You knew this was gonna happen, you sick fuck.
Is this gonna go fast, Grandpa?
It should, Charlie. It's got more gas in it than a politician.
And this was before Watergate. This does seem like a ton of fun. I wish bathing was this much fun. They enter a room whiter than a Capitol riot and send a giant chocolate bar across the room into a television. So you not only solved world hunger, you also created teleportation. Okay, I know I'm basically sounding like Mike TV from the Tim Burton movie, but seriously, you have invented so many groundbreaking things and you're wasting it on candy? Of course, Mike decides to teleport himself. Might have helped if you didn't have a button on the platform, and now he's all tiny and stuff. So his mom puts her in her purse, and Wonka says that they can put him through the taffy pulling machine.
Little surprises around every corner, but nothing dangerous.
I know they signed a contract, but there's no way that would hold up in court. Piss off.
What do you get from a glut of TV? A pain in the neck and an IQ of 3. Why don't you try simply reading a book?
Yes, movie. I should stop watching a screen and just read a book. Bit of a mixed message. Wonka promises that the other kids will be okay and just sort of pushes them out, acting disappointed. Inside his office, everything is cut in half. Why? Well, according to the director, they needed it to feel Wonka-y. This isn't Wonka-like, it's just destroying your own property. So they go in and ask him about the lifetime supply of chocolate he was supposed to get, but Wonka says he won't get it because he broke the rules. In a pretty frightening scene, he yells at them for stealing fizzy lifting drinks and says that because of the contract, he doesn't get any chocolate.
You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing! You lose!
I actually find that scarier than the tunnel scene. Grandpa Joe wants to give Slugworth the gobstopper, but Charlie realizes that he was in fact wrong, gives it back, and this causes Wonka to finally snap.
My boy. You won! You did it! You did it! I knew you would!
Oh, Charlie, he's trying to squeeze you to death. Turns out Slugworth was actually one of Wonka's employees meant to test the kids' loyalty. Alright, that's all well and good, but I still don't get how he got to Veruca so quickly. Come to think of it, how did he get to Charlie so quickly? So they get in the Great Glass Wonkavator, and Wonka asks Charlie to push a big button.
There it goes.
Congrats, Charlie. You launched the missiles towards the Soviets. What? The end has begun. No, they just launch into the sky and look over the scenery.
How did you like the chocolate factory, Charlie?
Oh, it was terrible. I saw 4 kids die and nearly got chopped up in a fan. Fuck you.
Say that because I'm giving it to you. That's why I decided a long time ago that I had to find a child. A very honest, loving child.
Well, good thing 5 children found the tickets. What if that guy from Paraguay actually found it?
Don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted.
What happened?
He killed himself because having everything you wanted is a special kind of hell. Yes, it was. This is not only one of my most nostalgic movies, but one of my favorites. There's just something magical about it. The characters are simple but charming. The effects are a bit dated, but with a lot of imagination. The dialogue can be pretty corny, but also pretty funny. I love all the little moments between the characters.
What business you in, Salt?
Nuts.
And Wonka's lines are just so iconic. I love how weird and dark he says them.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Gene Wilder is so damn good in this movie. All the actors are, even the kids. Which makes sense based on the commentary and behind the scenes stuff. They were not warned of some of these moments. The songs are great, it's sad, silly, got a lot of imagination. It is wonderful. However, I can see why Dahl hated it. There are a lot of changes, some of them feel kinda pointless, some actively go against the message of the book, but honestly I like those changes. And I think with him giving the gobstopper back, it actually helps the message more. It may change a lot, but the spirit and themes of the book are still there. If you want a more faithful version, go watch the Tim Burton movie, which I also really like. I know for a lot of people you like one and hate the other, but I really enjoy both of them. It's funny, I love the look of it, and it's certainly closer to the book. I like the Oompa Loompa songs more in Burton's version, and the kids have more of a variety of terribleness. So yeah, I do love Burton's version, but if you had to make me choose, I still do love the original more. There's something so incredibly lovable about it, and 50 years later, it still remains one of the best family movies ever made. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.
I never dreamed that I would climb over the moon in ecstasy, but nevertheless it's there that I'm shortly about to be, 'cause I've got a golden ticket.
Get that man to a hospital. The fuck?